Hi, I'm Andrew Court, and welcome back to my video series on the sacred feminine, Women in the Bible. Today we're going to talk about Rebecca. Immediately after the famous episode of the near sacrifice of Isaac on Mount Moriah, Sarah passed away. When the time of mourning was over, Abraham sent a servant to the land of his birth to find a wife for Isaac. When the servant arrived, he stopped beside a well and prayed for a sign. Instantly the beautiful Rebecca appeared, who turned out to be the granddaughter of Abraham's brother, and who possessed a generous and loving nature, much like Abraham himself. Rebecca agreed to return with Abraham's servant and marry Isaac. Just as Rebecca reached the home of Abraham, the text says that Isaac had just come back from the vicinity of Beer Lahai Roi. Now that means the well of the living one who sees me. And as we saw in the last video, it was named by Hagar many years earlier. It then says Isaac took Rebekah as his wife. Isaac loved her and thus found comfort after his mother's death. We're told very little else about Rebekah. But in the very next sentence, the Bible tells us that Abraham also now remarried, this time to a woman named Keturah. And they had several more children. Abraham lived many more years, and when he died, Ishmael and Isaac together buried him in a cave by Sarah. And after this, we're told, Isaac and Rebekah settled near Beer Lahai Roi. This information begins to make great sense when we learn from the Talmud that Keturah was another name for Hagar. Before Rebekah's arrival, Isaac had been in Beer Lahai Roi, which strongly suggests that he had been living with Hagar and his brother Ishmael. Isaac and Rebekah settled there together, and evidently Abraham also now joined them and married Hagar. On a spiritual level, this story reminds us that the various inner forces within the soul, no matter how divergent, can always reunite and work in harmony. On a psychological level, it suggests that it's never too late for broken families to come back to each other and heal their wounds. And on a social and political level, given the immense importance of this particular family for all of Western history, it clearly tells us that since Isaac and Ishmael could reunite as brothers, there is no reason why their children, Jews and Muslims, cannot do the same. Now, Isaac and Rebekah had twin sons, Jacob and Esau. According to the Kabbalah, the original divine plan was that the twins would share responsibility as the next patriarchs of Israel. Esau would be responsible for the nation's physical well-being, and Jacob would be responsible for the nation's spiritual well-being. But Esau was selfish and violent, and this changed Jacob's destiny. By whatever means necessary, he would have to take Esau's job away from him and balance both archetypes within himself. The story of how Jacob took on both roles began when Esau came home hungry one night after a hunt, and Jacob was cooking a stew. When Esau asked for some, Jacob said, "First sell me your birthright." And Esau agreed. Shortly after this, Isaac, whose eyes were growing dim and who knew he would soon die, told Esau to hunt some game and prepare a meal for him. Isaac would then give him his blessing as the eldest son and heir. But Rebekah, the Shekhinah, had been listening, and as soon as Esau left, she called Jacob and told him to disguise himself as Esau, bring Isaac a feast that she would prepare, and take the blessing. The ruse worked, and Jacob now possessed Esau's blessing and birthright. The journey forward of the soul could now continue, thanks to the help and protection of Rebekah, the Shekhinah. Well, next time we'll start talking about Rachel and Leah. In the meantime, if you haven't done so already, I hope you'll visit my website, Spirituality and Religion. Leave any comments you have, leave any thoughts and ideas you want to share, and please sign up for my mailing list to receive my bi-monthly newsletter on spiritual growth. Thanks, and see you next time.